What's going on, guys? It's your average consumer, and today we're going to be spending a real day in the life with the iPhone XS Max. And for those of you who have never seen one of my real day in the life videos, you're pretty much going to be spending the day with me and the XS Max, and we're going to see all kinds of things like its performance, battery life, what that camera is like, and we're going to put it through its paces in the real world and see how it does. So here was our day. Okay guys, so we are starting the day. I'm actually headed to the studio, but if you see behind me, there are a ton of people over here. I don't know what's going on, but I just happened to pass by a huge crowd. But either way, we are shooting with the front-facing camera of the XS Max right now. So this is the audio and the video quality that you guys can come to expect. But I had to leave the distracting crowd, head to the studio, and get the day started. We are at 100%. I used the phone for like a phone call, but yeah, not a big deal. And it is 12 o'clock, having a late start. Who would have thought, right? But I think that's enough testing of the video capabilities of these cameras. Now we're back on the regular camera, and I think it's time we head out. We launched the video today. We got what we needed to do done in the studio. It's actually a budget edition version of some cool accessories you can get for the phone. I'll have that link down below so you guys can check it out. But let's get on out of here and have our day, right, Ari?
Yes, I need to do some shopping.
All right, and listen, guys, I'm not walking around with this phone like this. Mama ain't raised no fool. Let's get a case on this bad boy. Ain't breaking no $1,500 phone. Come on now. All right, guys, so we are on our way to the mall, and we've been driving for about 27 minutes now. Actually, we've been driving for 25 minutes, and we've been using GPS for that long. And let's see, 84%. So I think we got in here when it was around 91. So took a bit of a hit with the GPS, but we still got a lot of battery left and a lot of day left, so we'll see how it goes. All right, guys, so we're in the mall and Ari is over there looking at shoes. So this is as good a time as ever to play some games, but there's something that I noticed that is a little unfortunate with the XS Max. I don't know if you guys can see the notch is blocking some of the content on this game. And that isn't something I've dealt with on the iPhone X, but it is visible here. It looks like we're gonna have to wait for app developers to update for the resolution of the iPhone XS Max. But I will say, guys, from a performance perspective, this thing still does do its job. The A12 chip, oh snap, talking too much. You guys are messing me up again.
No, he just messes up on the regular guy.
Hey, go buy your shoes, please. So this is one of those games that I love to play. It's called Hyper Heroes. But look up here, guys. You'll see that my currency, I can't see any of what's going on there. This is actually pretty unfortunate. And I get out of here. We already got all these boxes here. But yeah, so that kind of stuff, it kind of sucks that I'm not able to see it. Okay guys, so we are finally out of Macy's. Ari took forever in there. It is like 4 o'clock right now. And we've got 72% battery left. I was playing a lot of games. I had to keep myself occupied because I was falling asleep. But yeah, 72. Still got a lot of day left. We'll see how it does. And I just realized the sun is out, even though it's kind of cloudy, but this would be a really good time to try out the smart HDR feature. I want to see how it does with the portrait mode effect using the front-facing camera. So let's see if I can get a decent shot off here. Try another one like this, get some color in the background. All right, let's take a look and see what we got. It's actually pretty nice. Now, it is super cloudy. The sky does look a bit blown out. So not bad. The selfies actually look pretty good though. Nice and sharp. Background's blurred out. Looks good. And while we're out here taking pictures, I figure we'll take a picture of some flowers. This wouldn't be a tech review without one. So let's see if we get a nice cool picture in here. All right, let's see what we've got here. For just a random snap, I like what I'm seeing here. Colors are nice and vibrant. Looks pretty sharp. This is the portrait mode one. Some good detail. This is pretty nice for just a flower by the sidewalk. This is really good. And we had to stop by the Apple store real quick, guys, because listen, I want to protect this phone at all costs. You see that Belkin screen protector? I got one of the tempered glass ones from the Apple store. They actually install it for you, so you don't have to deal with making it perfect or anything like that. Just let them do it. It costs a bit more, but I'm telling you guys, it is worth it. I scratched my iPhone X screen pretty bad, and I'm not doing it with this one. It is way too expensive. So we just stopped to get some food, and this is actually the perfect time to see how the Max feels with one-handed usage. And It takes some maneuvering, I'm not gonna lie. I feel like I'm shifting my hand a lot more to reach certain places. But one feature that I use on almost all the iPhones nowadays is reachability, and that is playing a really big role, especially now since the top of the phone is just so far up. So just swiping down on the home button, I get access to the top of the screen. I can just do whatever I need to do. Reachability, I feel like, is very important now, especially on the Macs.
Or you can use a pop socket.
Or you can use a pop socket like Ari says, but I'm not gonna do that. Now we gotta take a picture of the chicken. It is not gonna pick this up. Let's do the Snapple bottle instead.
Are you doing portrait mode?
Portrait mode. Now, there was supposed to be an improvement to portrait mode for those finer details that are kind of hard to capture. They never claimed that it was going to be perfect, but they said it was going to be improved. But it does still struggle a little bit, especially when it comes to determining certain edges. So it got the sticker pretty fine, but it blurred out the bottle and the top of it as well. So not so hot. But something that's actually pretty cool about the new portrait mode effect is now you can go ahead and change the aperture. So I can change the aperture here and make it even more bokeh-licious at the back.
Bokeh-licious.
Yeah, bringing it all the way to the front. Nice and clear. It got some decent bokeh on its own, but you know, gotta make it bokeh-licious, baby. Look at that. And do you guys see that sunset? So I wanna see what kind of dynamic range we can get out of the camera. It's supposed to have that new smart HDR. So let's see what we get here. Yo, the colors though. Dang, that is nice. So let's look at some of the darkest points. This car over here looks pretty good. Even some of the brightest points, like these lights, they don't look completely overexposed. They're not too harsh on the picture. But let's see what the non-HDR version looks like. Yo, honestly, even the non-HDR version looks pretty good. Yeah, maybe once we put it on the computer, I'll be able to tell a bit better. But as of right now, even between the smart HDR version and the regular version, they both look really solid. This is a really good camera. Not to mention, this is pretty low light. So guys, Ari is on FaceTime right now, and there's actually a feature, and it's more of an iOS 12 thing that I absolutely just hate. It's not really a feature, it's just the way they changed FaceTime. Look, Ari's got her Animoji going right now.
Because I look crazy, you know, this is good for when you're talking to someone and you look a little crazy.
Because guys, check this out. When you want to switch the camera, you no longer just press that button right there, and you can't even do it over here. You have to swipe up or press the screen, hit this button, and then hit that button. That's a lot of work compared to what it was before. So now Ari's got me being her cameraman as usual. I'm always the one who gets her nice Instagram photos.
That is a lie.
Photo cred to Jed, always.
Is a lie.
That is absolutely true. So now I'm gonna put these through a little bit of Lightroom, see if I can make them look really good and ready for Instagram. All right, we rendered that out really quickly and it's headed your way. Boom.
To see the
That's
caption
simple.
I put with this, go follow @UrAvgGirlfriend.
Stop plugging yourself. So right now we're chilling in the basement. I'm watching Mr. Ken Bolito's video on Austin's channel. And the screen looks really good here, guys. But that's not what we're really checking out here. What I want to hear is the sound quality. Now, Apple has improved the stereo speakers of the new iPhones. And I gotta say, guys, it's actually pretty impressive. So check this out.
This is a really good option.
So this right here sounds good, but bringing it up all the way to the max is actually really solid. Now, I've tried this out with other shows and whatnot, and it sounds really impressive. It's much louder than your typical iPhone, and it is actually really impressive when playing a game like Asphalt 9. It just sounds crazy. Oh! And the crash is epic. So just to give you guys a battery update, it is 8:48 p.m. and I've got about 33% left. All right, so we're looking at 3 hours and 57 minutes of screen on time. And honestly, that number is a lot lower than I expected. For the max, yeah. I do have 33% left. So that's kind of interesting that we're getting a lower number in terms of screen on time. We'll see how it lasts throughout the rest of the night. Hopefully I don't clunk out before it does. But so far, I haven't had to put it on the charger, so we'll see. So one more quick update. I was just looking for a picture to post on Instagram, and I was looking at the portrait selfies that I took, And actually, I see a really big difference between the Smart HDR version and the normal one. The Smart HDR version, I see a lot more detail on the sidewalk to the right of my body, and you don't see as much over on the selfie without HDR. So you're seeing a lot more detail, and that's actually very nice. You'll also notice that my hoodie, it doesn't look as faded as it does with the regular picture. So this is an overall better shot. A lot of the things that might be a little bit overexposed, you get all that detail back with the HDR shot. That's actually really impressive and could be a game changer. I think everyone should have that HDR feature on when they take their photos. Unfortunately, it looks like we have to go back to the studio. We have some more work to get done, a couple of videos we gotta wrap up. It is currently 9:57 and we've got 13% battery left. So I don't think this phone is actually gonna beat me today. I'm probably gonna be up longer than it will. I really don't even know why we tease ourselves coming here, Ari, because now I'm tired. I am super tired, but duty calls. And that was pretty much our day, guys. Now that was a pretty interesting experience. I gotta say, I did expect a little bit more with the XS Max. Right off the bat, I wasn't super impressed with the battery life. I really thought that I'd see a lot more than I got with the iPhone 10, but it was probably the same for me. I don't know why that's the case. I saw a lot of other tech YouTubers mention it having really great battery life, some saying the same as me, that it matched their 10. So I'm not really sure what to think of the battery life as of right now, but through my current experience, it hasn't been really an upgrade, which I will say is a big disappointment because that's what I really got the Max for. Now, of course, with the Max, you have that bigger display where content just looks really, really good on it. Of course, you have those nice big new stereo speakers that are improved and they sound amazing, guys. I mean, really, really good. So this is a huge improvement compared to the 10, and it definitely makes watching content or playing games that much more enjoyable at full volume. Now, personally for me, where I did have an issue with this new bigger display, while it's awesome and the sound is awesome, all that is great, I really had a hard time using it with one hand. Now, everyday regular stuff wasn't so bad. You do definitely get used to it, but what was kind of a deal breaker for me, guys, it was not really even what happened throughout the day. Throughout the day was pretty fine, but it was at night where I ran into my real issues. So me personally, I do tend to use the phone a lot in bed, and where I had my biggest issue was just kind of laying on my side, scrolling on my phone. I had a really hard time holding the phone in a position that wouldn't make it fall out of my hand. Honestly, it was a lot of shuffling with the phone in my hand, trying to get to the top of the screen and do all kinds of stuff. That one I feel like I'll have a really hard time getting used to, because just maneuvering the phone like that with one hand, it's just not for me. And it's not really the size of the body that's an issue there for me, because I've come from the iPhone 7 Plus, 8 Plus, so those were no problem because they had smaller screen. Now with that much larger screen, you're dealing with swiping at the very bottom or swiping at the very top to get your notifications. There's a pretty wide gap between the two of those. So navigation as a whole is pretty difficult with one hand, unless you're willing to do a lot of shuffling with your hands. Now, when it comes to performance, who are we kidding? These phones are absolute beasts. They'll be able to do whatever you want them to do. There's absolutely nothing that you're gonna be able to throw at this phone and it not be able to handle. Heck, I could even say that with the iPhone 10. But of course, having that A12 Bionic chip and all of its power does allow the phone to do a bit more than it used to before in the past. And it's more about what can developers add to their apps to take advantage of this power. And that's why we're seeing the growth of AR and things like that. We're getting way more power in our phones, and we're able to do a lot more, even really cool things like using the Measure app to figure out the distance between things in your home. That, to me, that is a mind-blowing app, guys. It's kind of crazy. But yes, now the iPhones can do more than ever, whether it's the iPhone XS or XS Max. Now let's talk about those cameras. And I will say, I am very, very happy with the cameras. They performed really, really well. One thing that's really cool is that portrait mode effect. Now, portrait mode is a big feature for me. I did find that not all the pictures I took came out perfect in terms of edge detection and things like that. There is still some room for improvement there, but there definitely has been improvements from previous iterations. You now also have the aperture control feature. So if you want to add a little bit more bokeh to your shots, make it a little bit more blurry in the background, you can do that. I think that is a very, very nice touch. And as a portrait mode fan, I'm happy to see these improvements and new features added to it. I also found that photos came out a bit brighter, like in the midtones and the shadow areas. There's a bit more detail in there now. And with that smart HDR feature, there's lots of detail everywhere. Whether your frame has something really dark and something really bright, you'll be able to see and distinguish what's actually there because there's just a lot more detail, and Smart HDR does a really good job at stitching together all of those different photos and making it a really nice single photo. And one thing I noticed that's pretty interesting about the cameras is they pick up a lot more lens flare. So if that's something you like, then you're gonna see a lot of it here. But it is something I noticed quite a bit more in my photos. So whether you love or hate it, that's something you're gonna wanna know, because it's definitely more present. Now, when it comes to the front-facing camera, it did a solid job. I did notice some people complaining on Twitter about it doing a smoothing effect, and I guess it's like those beauty modes that other phones have. For me, I don't got no real issues with it. It didn't bother me. Ari even noticed it herself when she took a couple of selfies, so it is there if you hate that feature. Unfortunately, the camera settings don't really allow for you to turn that off. I don't know. I posted a selfie on Instagram for the first time in forever and got mad likes. So who am I to complain? Something else that was pretty interesting that I noticed is that the lens seems to be just slightly wider than the regular 10's camera. So if you have the 10S or 10S Max, you do get a slightly wider lens, which is nice because you're able to get more in your frame. That is a welcomed addition. I always want the wide lens to actually be wide and the telephoto lens go ahead and be a telephoto lens. But Apple moving in that direction is really, really good. But overall, guys, where I stand with the iPhone XS Max is that I've used it, tried it out, and I honestly don't think it's for me. I'm probably gonna go down to the iPhone XS. I honestly prefer to just have an easy one-handed experience. The screen being bigger didn't really do much more for me than the regular iPhone XS. So I feel like I'll be more comfortable using the XS instead of the XS Max, even though the XS Max has that nice, big, beautiful display, great speakers, but the iPhone XS pretty much has a beautiful display and great speakers as well. So I'm just gonna go for comfort here and probably downgrade since I wasn't able to see a really big benefit in battery life, which is probably the biggest reason why I went with the Max in the first place. But that is my take, guys. I think I'm going to end up switching to the XS. They're both great phones. Just a matter of comfort, which one is more comfortable to use for you. What's gonna be more comfortable for me, I think, is the regular XS, so I'm going to be jumping on that train. I'll keep you guys updated if I actually make the jump though, because I got all my stuff on my XS Max right now, but we'll see. I'll keep you guys posted. Make sure you follow me on Instagram, Twitter, all that stuff so you can know what's happening. And if you haven't entered into my giveaway of a brand new iPhone XS and XS Max, I'll have that video linked down below in the description for you guys to try it out. But that about wraps it up for this video, guys. Hopefully you enjoyed it. If you did, be the cool guy or girl that gives this video a thumbs up, and I will catch you guys in the next one. Till then, it's your average consumer. Peace. That's a really long outro. That's a really long outro. I gotta chop that down. Peace, guys.